Get off. What is... Get this out of here. Oh, hey there, how's it going? Thanks for coming back to my channel. So you may be asking, what am I doing here? Well, what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of my Arccos sensors. Here's one close up. Here they are, Arccos. And I've used it for over a year, so I've had a lot of testing with this, and I've come to the conclusion that I'm done with Arccos, and why I think you should also not invest the money into this system. So sticking around for for exciting review of this product and why I think you should really save your money, and you might be better off investing into something else. This isn't a sponsored post. This is just an unbiased opinion. I've had the Arccos system for a year, and I chose not to renew my membership this year. So stick around, grab a beverage, grab something to eat. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and let's get right into this. All right, so you may be asking, why should I not get Arccos? Well, first of all, it is very expensive. I think unless you get it with your clubs, and I will put the price over this, and again, this is not sponsored, this is just my own opinion. I believe it was around $200 for the system, and that also came with a free 1-year membership included. If you do buy, I think if you buy Ping or TaylorMade clubs, you do get the sensors included, but you still need to pay for the subscription. The subscription renewal, I think it's $160 for the year, and they don't let you pay monthly. You have to pay all up front. So it's quite a big investment if you think of buying that every single year. You know, that can really add up. You could buy new golf clubs with that, or a ton of other things. So, you know, that's one, is the cost. Secondly, you know, why did I think of this before I bought it? Well, I really liked what I had seen from the Arccos, from reviews and some of my friends using it. So I figured it was worth it to spend the money to do it. So I will say, you know, I bought it for the whole year. I used it every time I golfed, and I'll put up a bunch of my stats and me using it. And I do really like a lot of things about the Arccos, don't get me wrong. But, you know, compared to a free thing like the 18 Birdies or Golf Shot GPS or one of those other golf apps, I didn't see a huge, you know, improvement over that. And honestly, I think if it was just to buy the sensors up front and you would have Arccos, the subscription free, I think it'd be well worth it. But having that annual subscription really kills it, and I just don't see, you know, spending that money. I don't see where it's going, reinvesting back into the product, and I just don't think it's worth it. So that's two things. The third thing is it really forces you to be on your phone the entire time, which I don't know about you, but that really does take me out of golf, and I'll get into this more, but basically what it forces you to do is, you know, you'll go up, make sure, first you need to make sure that it identified the correct club. So most times you'll see how it works, how Arccos works is you pair each sensor. What I found in my experience is that sometimes it detects the wrong club, it doesn't pair correctly. So what you first have to do is go onto your phone and make sure, or your watch, I use the watch most of the time, make sure that the right club is selected. And another thing is, and this happens to me a lot, sometimes I'll go up to see a shot, you know, I'll pick a 7-iron, whatever it might be, and then I decide, you know, based on the conditions or the lie or whatever, I'm going to go 8 or I'm going to go 6. So you have to make sure that it picks the right club afterwards, because what will happen is, say you go out with your 7-iron, you swing, it thinks you hit your 7-iron the entire time. So you need to. So what I'm trying to say here is it forces you to be on your phone. Secondly, it doesn't always register every shot. It just doesn't. I don't know how else to say it. Most of the time it does. I'd say probably 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10 it does, but it doesn't always get it. And so you'll be 3 shots ahead. You realize, oh, you missed a shot. Your second shot, you know, it missed it. So that's annoying. Third thing, you know, we all shank the ball. You know, we all shank the ball. We all have a miss hit. We all, you know, especially around chipping, you'll chip and you'll duff a shot. If you take 2 shots consecutively next to each other, it does not register that you did it with the same club. It doesn't register it. So you have to go into your phone, add that shot in. That's annoying. Another thing, it doesn't always pick up penalties. So it claims to know if you're in the sand bunkers or whatever, and it'll know that you're in the sand. So sometimes it knows that you're hitting from the sand, sometimes it doesn't. In the stats, it tells you how much you've gotten out of the sand, but it doesn't actually, if it doesn't register that you're hitting from the sand, that stat's useless. And then say if you hit it out, you hit it in the water, you have to add that on to a penalty, which, that's just annoying. And the other thing is the putting is just terrible. The putting does not work. I will give them credit. It is hard to pick up a putt because of Arccos uses the sound and the light to come up with if you swung or not. But for the amount of money that this is, I personally think it should be able to pick up putting. So I have a sensor on here for my putter. It does not pick it up. And this is the thing in the app, and I'll show this in the app. It shows how you missed putts from how far away, what you were good at putts, like what your distance was, how you compared to the pros. Honestly, that is taken with such a grain of salt. Unless you're like really monitoring this every single time and making sure it's picking up every single putt from the correct distance where the flag is, that's just meaningless and it doesn't work. Again, another reason you have to be on your phone. So I think the combination of being on your phone and the technical issues with this many, many times is just annoying. It's not really worth it. And honestly, compared to a free version, a free app, it does pretty much what you want as the distances. It does most of the same things for free. Couple other things, the caddy recommendation. So you have to get I think you have to play 5 rounds with Arccos before it starts recommending caddies to you. So there's 2 flaws with this. One, you can't get the caddy recommendations on your watch. Don't know why. You have to go back to your phone to ask it to use the caddy, which I think that's annoying because they watch, but it honestly doesn't work with the watch for that purpose. It gives you distances, but it doesn't tell you the club until you go into your phone and press Ask Caddy. That's one flaw. Second flaw is some of those caddy recommendations are ridiculous. They just don't work. Biggest thing for me, I use my 5-iron a lot to hit out from, to hit a low shot out from under trees or whatever. So a shot like that, it's going to go, 50 to 100 yards. So there'd be times where I'd be, 50 to 100 yards away from the green. It's telling me to use a 5-iron. I mean, obviously I would never use a 5-iron that close to the green. There's other instances where you'd be between distances, you'd be between clubs, you'd have like an awkward shot. The Ask Caddy recommendation wouldn't work. And I got to a point where I actually didn't end up using it because I just couldn't trust it. And I just used like my own instincts to know what club to use. So, they're hyping up this Ask Caddy stuff. And honestly, I think most of the time it works, but it's like, that's the club that I was going to use anyway. I didn't really see a difference between that and what the app said. And then on top of that, when it would recommend the wrong clubs, it's just like, I don't understand. Why is it recommending that? I will give them a hats off. I think sometimes it did work as far as if I thought I could hit my club further than I could, and it would say, no, Matt, you need to take this club instead to get there. And that actually was kind of nice because I think it kind of humbles you a bit. And that's and I know this post has been a little bit negative. That is a positive that I do like about the Arccos is I do like the smart distances that tells you how far away how far you hit each club, and it gives you a range between 10 to 20 yards for each distance, which is really nice. And I'll put mine up here. I do like how it does seem pretty accurate, and I do like that because if you think about it, you pick up your driver, you hit it, you walk to the ball, you pick up the next club. So it does the math between where you hit and where you started, and it comes to what your distance is, and it takes that number all the times you hit that club and comes up with an average, which I do really, really like that. But again, that feature should be free. I'm paying for these sensors. I just keep pulling out clubs. I'm paying for these sensors. You're trying to get me in a subscription model. That feature hadn't changed, so I don't understand why I have to keep paying for that. Whereas technically you could do that in a phone app. It's a little annoying because you have to keep pressing where you started and where you stopped and to do it that way. But I also think Garmin has sensors that are free. So if Garmin can do it, I don't know why Arccos can't do it. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. The other thing I'm just thinking here, the other thing that doesn't work quite well, if you don't have cell phone service, which again, most golf courses don't because most golf courses are in the middle of nowhere unless you're playing in a city or whatever. Most golf courses are in an area where there isn't great cell phone service. So The reason you need cell phone service is when you go into the Ask Caddy option, it connects to their servers to come up with what club you should use based upon how you hit and based upon how other people hit. That's what they claim, at least. And if you don't have cell phone service, that feature just does not work at all. Doesn't work. So you're paying this money, can't use it. In my area, there is pretty good service most of the time, but on some courses that I've been to, there hasn't been service, and it's going to obviously vary depending on location. So something to keep in mind.
Okay, everyone, welcome back. So you just watched that segment, and the last thing I want to add is Arccos really tries to claim that it will give you a 5+ stroke gain in your handicap. Now, in my experience, I didn't really see this, and I'm just one example. I did get better. I like in the Arccos stats, it tells you where your misses are, and it really puts that into context. So for me, my biggest miss was from the fairway shots to the green. So my approach shots. So that 100 to 150 yard distance. And what that was really helpful for is that would tell me, I mean, obviously, I have that golf simulator, the Garmin R10. That would tell me what to go and practice, because I think before that I would just practice whatever. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen now that I don't have Arccos anymore, if I am going to keep practicing those things, because things might change. Maybe my approach shots will be where I need to practice. Time will tell. But I think I really liked Arccos that did tell you where you're missing compared to other people, where you're doing great. So instead of going to the driving range and just hammering drives, maybe you should actually practice your short game. Uh, so anyway, I thought that was something I wanted to point out, because I do feel like my video was really hating on Arccos a lot, which I think it's justified in certain areas for what I said. But I think for the gains with knowing what to practice, I thought that was a really great tool. Still not worth $160 a year, but something to point out. So I really hope that video helped. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you have Arccos and you got rid of it, or you're thinking about getting it, I hope this helps for you to decide what to do. And definitely leave a positive comment, leave a thumbs up, and definitely remember to subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. So thanks again.